electoral roll. Now, the CI has been referred to the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament. Quite a number of notable persons have disagreed with this instrument. We're going to be asking why tonight. Why this instrument? Why does the EC think it is such a good idea? And why is there so much opposition to this instrument? That's what we're discussing tonight on Spotlight. We're going to be speaking with Honorable Yunusa Hussaini, who is a lawyer. Ben Epson is a pollster. Saka Salia is an MPP communications team member. He's going to be joining us for this discussion. Murtala Mohammed is member of parliament for Tamale Central constituency. He's also going to be joining us on phone. Now, we have reached out to the EC. Unfortunately, we could not get them to join this conversation. So if you work with the EC and you think that you are not properly represented tonight, I'll be giving out the phone lines. You can call in and give us your opinion. My name is Nwong Falog. We'll come back in a minute to this discussion. Stay with us. Welcome back to Spotlight. Still on the matter of this CI, what do you think about the Ghana card being the sole form of identification for eligible voters who want to get onto the electoral poll? We went out earlier, we spoke with some Ghanaians, and this is what they had to say.
A lot of people have not gotten their card, and then they have to wait for almost everybody to get the card before they can come out with such an exercise.
I go today, they say tomorrow. I go today, they say tomorrow. So they ask for me. I'm tired for Ghana card. Okay. You can't say that we are going to use only Ghana card to do the voter ID card, because we have a lot of things we can use it to do voter ID card.
Oh yeah, since it's now the card that we are using for everything. It's not bad if you use it.
Now the Ghana card is used for a general thing. Yeah, so let's see. Since they are saying we are digitizing everything, this is to the NIA, so they have to work on their system well and then try to let every Ghanaian, every single Ghanaian in the system get theirs, and then those that are in the system that are not yet out, they should find a way to solve this problem. In my opinion, I don't think the Ghana card registration should be halted, but it should continue like passport, that anytime, anywhere, you can go and then do it.
Because everybody got a Ghana card. Because when they're going to vote, people are going to get 18 years without any Ghana card. One of I'm talking to one of my friends don't have a Ghana card. How can he going to vote without Ghana card? Is he going to vote or not? So it doesn't make sense to me.
Actually, what would be the essence of the voter's ID if now we are going to use the Ghana card? We just renew the voter's ID, spending a lot of money just to change it from NDC's to MPP's voter's ID. So now that we are going to move it to the Ghana card, what would be the essence of spending all that money that time? Where were all these Ghana cards when we were doing that? It would have been a financial loss to the state. I have a problem with Ghana card being everything here in Ghana. So what about our passport, our driving licenses? What then do we do with that?
You heard Ghanaians. There's a lot of pushback against the use of the Ghana card as a sole identification instrument for the 2024 voters register compilation. Now, the Electoral Commission, of course, has come out to defend its decision, citing various reasons for which they are pushing this forward. We have to also say that a lot of people have also come out to push against it, believing that it is not a very good idea. Perhaps it's a case of people not really understanding what the EC is trying to do. So this evening, we're going to be trying to tease out the issues and find out exactly what is going on. One of the people who have come out against this particular exercise is former electoral commissioner, Dr. Afarijan, and he has come out to say it's going to create a lot of confusion and disenfranchise some persons. Now, how true is this? We also know that the Electoral Commission has dismissed some of these claims, saying the decision to use the Ghana card as a required document for registering prospective voters, it's not going to result in anyone losing their right to vote. They also insist that all prospective voters will get onto the roll when they use the Ghana card. Let me just quote him. He says, "We are convinced that if we all focus on that and put our mind to it, it is achievable. It will be achieved." That's Dr. Siribo Kwaku, and he is saying this is something that can be achieved and will not amount to any disservice to Ghanaians. Let me go to my panelists who are joining us this evening. Honorable Yunus Hussaini is a lawyer. Ben Efson is my former journalist and pollster. Saka Salia is Executive Director of Truth and Accountability Forum, also NPP Communications team member. He's going to be joining us in studio in a moment. He's a little caught up with traffic, but he'll be here shortly. Murtala Mohammed is Member of Parliament for Tamale Central Constituency. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Spotlight. Good evening.
Evening, how are you?
Very well. I think I heard Yunus Hussaini's voice, so let me go to him pretty quickly. Mr. Hussaini, now I'm sure you have familiarized yourself with exactly this CI, especially as it's already been in Parliament. What do you make of this whole move and the CI that has been laid before Parliament?
Well, my initial comments would be to the effect that the CI appears to be contrary to the earlier CI that had been laid before Parliament. I mean, what this CI is seeking to do is to amend the earlier CI that was laid before Parliament that made the verification documents, primary documents for verification and identification of individuals who are eligible to get onto the electoral roll. Now, the constitutionality of making only the Ghana card the only source document for the purposes of establishing whether a person is a Ghanaian has come up for challenge. And that springs from the Article 42 of the Constitution, which is to the effect that every Ghanaian who is 18 years, every citizen of Ghana who is 18 years and above and of a sound mind is eligible to be put onto the voters register. Now, the Constitution or Citizenship Act, chapter 3 of the Constitution, and particularly Article 6 of the Constitution, says that a person is a Ghanaian by birth if at the time of his birth one of his parents or either of his parents or one grandparent was a citizen of Ghana. And that means that, I mean, you are conferred citizenship by reason of your lineage. I mean, we call this jus sanguinis. That is, it's because your parents are Ghanaians by birth. That is why you are a Ghanaian. And so the fact is, there is an inherent right in every Ghanaian to get onto the voters register, irrespective of whether that Ghanaian has a Ghana card
or not,
or hasn't got a card at all.
Yeah.
Because earlier provisions of the law made provision for people to vouch for others. For instance, it will be erroneous to assume that all over Ghana, people have got the Ghana card. I mean, we know that a significant segment of the population who are 18 and above haven't got the Ghana card. I mean, the records are there. They have only been able to register about 16 million people out of a projected 19 million people onto the Ghana card. Most of these guys who have been registered have not even gotten their cards. The remaining significant more than 10% of the population that is yet to get onto the Ghana card might be people who are in the rural areas. So you see, so that's where the argument comes up. At what point do we use administrative procedure, administrative decisions to override the express provisions of the Constitution? Or can we use administrative procedures to frustrate the enjoyment of a right? Is it possible? Is that how the Constitution ought to be interpreted? That when the Constitution confers a right on every Ghanaian of 18 years and above, we can use an administrative procedure or an inferior legislation like the CI to frustrate the enjoyment of that right. And that is where I have my difficulty.
Right.
I mean, if the NIA had said, look, we have significantly gotten all adult Ghanaians onto the NIA, and we are still continuing the process, and people are turning 18. And when we were making the law, we said, look, let's graduate the registration of people. The eventual program will capture even people at birth. Children born will be captured. I mean, that's why the law says 0 age. That is, children born will be captured. Now, so until we get to that, we must tarry and hasten slowly and ensure that we offer opportunities to all Ghanaians who are desirous of getting onto the register to get onto the register.
Right. Thank you, Honorable Inusuf Hussaini. Let me just put some phone numbers out there. As I mentioned earlier, we've tried to get the EC. That has not been successful, but if any of them is listening and wants to join into the conversation, the phone numbers are 020-4738-481. That's 020-4738-481 and 0550-331-511. 0550-331-511. Also, let me just give you a bit of statistics there where the Ghana card is concerned. The number of people, well, this is from the NIA, those who have registered so far for the Ghana card, about some 16 million. These statistics are going to be rolling on your screen. Some 16,969,034 Ghanaians. And the cards that have been issued so far are 15,702,719. Cards that have been printed but not issued, 808,493 cards. The EC, however, is very positive that the outstandings will be cleared in due course. This is one of the reasons they believe that the Ghana card is the appropriate instrument to use in registering people onto the voters register. Let me go back to the line. We have Mr. Benefson. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us. There are a few oppositions to using the Ghana card as a sole form of identification for eligible voters who want to get onto the electoral roll, especially against 2024. We know the CI is presently in Parliament. What is your position? You know, we've had the EC strongly defending this decision. We've had a few persons vehemently against this, including Mr. Martin Pebu, who's been very vocal about it. We've also had Honorable Mahama Ayariga has been vocal against it. And then Also, Mr. Afarijan has been very clear in his stance against this. Where do you stand?
Stand halfway between the two sides.
Halfway between the two.
I am against using only the Ghana card as a form of identification for the continuing registration. But I am also against the current system of identification through which people can register because it has been abused. Let's say in an area, there are, everybody knows that Mr. A is not a Ghanaian, Mr. A is a foreigner, Mr. A attends the political rallies of Party A. Come registration, the political party that the foreigner attends are able to gather people around to guarantee for him that he's a Ghanaian. So on voting day, Mr. B, a supporter of Party B, sees that, this alien, this guy I know is not a Ghanaian, and the guy produces his voter ID, which he has been able to acquire through the guarantor system. So hell breaks loose. Mr. B doesn't understand. So I think that the guarantor system, which had been used, it has outlived its usefulness. We must be able to find a way that in continuing registration or henceforth, there must be a system which will make it difficult for non-Ghanaians to be able to acquire a voter ID card. That is where I stand.
Interesting, Mr. Ben-Efsin. In between, that's quite an interesting position. I'll come back to you in a moment because I want to find out exactly, because if you say the guarantor system is outdated, but you're not 100% for using the Ghana card as the sole form of identification, then I'm wondering what the blend should be, or should it be just a completely different solution? But let me go to the line. We still have Murtala Mohammed, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central. Honorable, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We've had people take different stances here. We just listened to Mr. Efsin, who is in between. What exactly is your position where this is concerned, especially the CI that's been laid before Parliament?
Well, let's first and foremost say that the CI has not been laid in Parliament, because I've heard several media outlets who have argued that there has been a CI laid to amend, if you like, or replace the existing CI. Because if it was laid, then we would have started counting. And once we get the required date, it becomes a law. I am not a member of the Subsidiary and Legislation Committee. But when the Electoral Commission, in fact, the two deputies, Dr. Bosman Asari and the other deputies, and Tilbo and some officials of the EC appeared before the committee, I was invited to sit in the meeting. And for you to replace the CI, or even seek amendment of an existing CI, there must be a compelling reason why you want to do that.
Okay. You
don't just come to a committee of Parliament and say that we are replacing the existing CI, or we are seeking amendment to the existing CI without a reason. And I remember on that day, Dr. Ayene, who is the chair of the committee, demanded to know the reasons why they wanted or they were seeking to replace the existing CI. And according to Dr. Bosman Asari, who spoke for the EC team, in fact, he said that the reason why they were seeking to use only the national identification card as a sole document for the purposes of registering to engage in an electoral process in Ghana is that they could not vouch for the credibility of the passport. That was the first statement we made. And with all due respect, I told them it was the silliest I have ever heard. Two, they also said that they think, and this was the word they used, that many Ghanaians have the national identification card today. So these were the two reasons. They never provided any reason justifying why they were seeking to present CI to Parliament. And I remember I asked them that if you say that you cannot vouch for the credibility of the national passport, there should be reasons why you say that. And the response they gave was that they have evidences that many foreigners are in possession of the Ghanaian passport. That's what they said. Then I asked them that as people who are managing our electoral process, didn't they think it's a class irresponsibility that you have evidence of foreigners who are in possession of the Ghanaian passport and you haven't reported those foreigners to the police? Because as a citizen, if you have evidence that the foreigner who is in the possession of the Ghanaian passport, you have a duty to report that foreigner to the police. You never did that. Now remember Dr. Yini said that until they provide us with evidence of foreigners who are in possession of Ghanaian passports, they do not think they can go to convince plenary that there is a compelling reason why they are seeking to present this new year. That's one. Two, I also told them, and in fact, many of my colleagues also retweeted me, that evidences are found where foreigners are in possession of the Ghana card. In fact, several media houses have reported the police have even arrested some foreigners who were having the possession or were in possession of the Ghana card. So if the mischief you want to cure because there are foreigners who are in possession of the Ghanaian passport, then you cannot cure this because there are also foreigners who are in possession of the Ghana card, and they never contested that. Two, we also wanted to find out from them that the basis for which they argue that many Ghanaians are in possession of the Ghana card. Just last Saturday, I was on a sister TV program with the head of corporate, one of the at the National Identification Authority, one Dr. Abu Ghani, and he started his presentation by providing us with figures of those who have applied for, figures of those tickets they have issued, figures of Ghana cards they have issued, figures of Ghana cards that are yet to be issued. And on the program, when we did the simple arithmetic, the figures were not adding up. That same Dr. Abudu was quoted on that same day by Silbo on News 5. So it means that the Electoral Commission had so much confidence in this Dr. Abudu, and for which reason Silbo quoted the figures he presented. Unfortunately, those figures on that program, when he was there and myself, they were not adding up. Now, there were other two questions that answered those questions. He said he didn't have the answer. I wanted to find out the total number of people who have applied for the Ghana card. How many of them are foreigners? Because non-citizens can also apply for the Ghana card. They are issued with Ghana cards that has an inscription on it, non-citizens. So I wanted to know the 16,000 figure. On that program, people said 19,000. 19 million. The 19 million figure, the 17 million, sorry. He quoted 17 million. The 17 million plus figure he quoted, what percentage of it, constitute non-citizens who have also applied for the Ghana card? He said on that day that he didn't have the figures. And for me, it was strange, because he should have that on his fingertips. I also wanted to find out how many of that 17 million constitute people who are 15 years. Because 15 years you can apply for Ghana card. And if you apply for Ghana card at the age of 15, the elections you are going to be having in 2024 is less than 3 years now. And therefore, those who have applied for it and are 15 years, they will not be eligible to participate in the 2024 election. So if you are given a figure and you want to say that because we think there are a number of young people who would have attained 18 years, so that figure may be completely misleading. So I think that for me, it is interesting that even, and that's why I have a little problem with my senior brother, Benefton's position.
Okay.
Benefton's position is that he thinks that the vouching, or the guarantor, is like system of registration.
It's outdated, yeah.
Why? The Ghana card, you can still procure the Ghana card through the system. The Ghana card. You can vouch for somebody or guarantee for somebody to acquire the Ghana card.
Right.
So if it's outdated, then it means that we can have the question on the credibility of the Ghana card because
To question, yeah.
process.
Yeah.
It is very clear that this Electoral Commission is seeking to help this government to achieve the so-called breaking the eight. There is nothing to it. And in fact, if you listen to...
Honorable, we don't have evidence to that
let me
as we speak.
I mean, clearly, if
Right.
you listen to Dr. Kifwa, Dr. Kifwa himself has indicated that the Electoral Commission is not under any obligation to use the Ghana card. They themselves have said, how do you seek to use a system whose control you do not have? The control of the Ghana card is in the hands of the National Identification Authority. It is not in the hands of the Electoral Commission. So assuming today you want to use that, someone goes to apply. Some have applied for 2 years, they still not had their Ghana card. Such a person is not able to register because the system used by the National Identification Authority has some failure. That person will be disenfranchised and it's a clear violation of Article 41 of the 1992 Constitution. So it simply doesn't make sense.
Thank you so much, Honorable Murtala Mohammed, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central Constituency, obviously against the use of the Ghana card as the sole identification instrument. Let me come in studio to Saka Salia, who is also Executive Director for Truth and Accountability Forum, also NPP Communications team member. I wonder what his position is. Mr. Salia, there's been a lot of pushback, and for very good reason, some of the questions asking for compelling reasons why we should migrate to using just the Ghana card for that purpose. We've also had an interesting twist to this whole discussion where the very revered Afarijan, who's been silent for some time, has added his voice to the pushback against this. And he is asking that, he said the use of the Ghana card as the only identification for voter registration is against electoral inclusivity, fairness, and justice. Now, according to him, he's saying that many Ghanaians are finding it difficult to get their Ghana cards. Therefore, the use of the card alone can disenfranchise millions of Ghanaians. What is your position?
Thank you very much. Let me greet my brothers on the Zoom.
Yeah.
Murtala Benefton and then Alaji. First of all, I am not surprised the position the various speakers have taken, because it's just a matter of déjà vu to me.
Okay.
Anytime the Electoral Commission wants to strengthen the electoral process, we've always seen the NDC come after them.
In this case, it's not just the NDC that's come after them.
Yeah, but I know what I'm talking about. We always see the NDC and people who think like them come after the Electoral Commission.
Okay.
And one wonder what their motive is. If the
They're asking for compelling reasons.
No, I'm coming. I would dismantle those reasons that they are giving.
Right.
One wonder what their motive is, what they stand to gain if there is laxity in the electoral process. First of all, if people are going to be disenfranchised, I'm sure they will be coming from both the MPP, the NDC, and then even the other political parties. Because there is no way only MPP people will be given Ghana card and all that. My brother Murtala says that the Ghana card is not in the hands of the Electoral Commission. as if the birth certificate is the Electoral Commission that produces birth certificate for Ghanaians, or whether the Electoral Commission, whether the passport is in the hands of the Electoral Commission. All those identification cards are not in the hands of the Electoral Commission. So you cannot isolate Ghana card and talk as if the Ghana card is in the hands of the Ghana, the ID authority, and therefore the Electoral Commission should not bank their hope on that. But let me tell you, the Electoral Commission, we are not going to elections tomorrow. We all know that. And the Electoral Commission, together with the National Identification Authority, have assured Ghanaians that by the time that we go into the election, every Ghanaian would have had their Ghana card. Every Ghanaian, including the supporters of the NDC. So what is their problem? Now, my brother, Alaji,
He's
saying that, or if you look at Article 42, it says that every citizen of Ghana of 18 years of age and above and of sound mind and has the right to vote is entitled to be registered as a voter for the purposes of public election and referenda. We know that. And then he goes to say that you cannot use CI to frustrate the enjoyment of somebody's rights. And that once the Constitution says that every Ghanaian, once you are 18 years, you need to vote. Even as the Article 42 is so clear. Currently, as we are speaking, it's not everybody who gets 18 years and of sound mind that gets to vote.
Why?
Yes. Because
why?
Because if the elections are held on the 7th, on the 8th, somebody is 18 years.
No.
Right.
You know, I'm coming.
But in that process, no one disenfranchised.
Wait. If somebody elections are held on the 7th,
right,
on the 6th, on the 5th of December, somebody is 18 years,
right,
but the person would not get the opportunity to go and even register, let alone even get the opportunity to, because the CI that he says that should not be used to frustrate the Constitution, and that the Constitution is supreme. The CI says that by certain dates, the Electoral Commission should have compiled the register and give it to the various political parties.
Right.
So from the various CIs. You get what I'm saying? Every CI.
Well, I'll come to you to respond to you in a moment, please.
The political parties, by certain dates,
yeah,
I think a month or so,
right,
to the election, should have had the total register of voters. So at that time, whether you become 18 or not, it doesn't matter to them, because at that time the Constitution is being violated.
Right.
If that is what he's saying. You see? And for me, I think that, look, we have always, as a country, tried every ways and means to ensure that the integrity of the electoral process is protected. We have always done that. And each time that we tried to hold the integrity of the electoral process, the NDC says no.
Mr. Salia, let me ask you this. You know, registration for the Ghana card has been ongoing for years.
Yes.
Since 2018. If you bring it to now, and we see there's been only a registration of about 16 million people, when you say there's time for it to be done between now and 2024, what's the guarantee that everyone will be...
Do you know that some people, there is no motivation for some people to go for it?
Okay.
You see, but once the motivation is there, that if you don't have it, you won't be able to register. People rush for it. So there are always motivations for...
So this is like a motivation?
Yeah, it is part of it. I'm not saying that is the only reason. Let nobody go and then misquote me. I am saying that as part of... Because there are certain people who are sitting
But
down.
it's pretty... Isn't it a little sensitive to use an election as a motivation?
No. You see, that's the reason why I'm saying that. That is one reason. Okay. Do you know that there are some people who will go for it because of their bank accounts? Because it's being linked with it. So people have various reasons why they go for some of these cars. Somebody want to go for it because he want to be identified as Ghanaians. Somebody want to use it to go and vote. Right. So there are always motivations for so and you know, in the election, motivations are always higher. Even the political parties themselves would would push their supporters to go and have it in order for them to get the vote and all that. So I don't, you see, they are just jumping the gun. People are creating the impression as if tomorrow is a voting day, and that 16 or 15 million people are the only people that have been issued cards and all those things, and they are doing mathematics out of it, as if we are going to elections tomorrow. We are talking about 2.5 years' time, and they have projected that about 19 million people will be on the voter register, and by that time, everybody of the age of voting would have had that card.
Right.
So why would anybody just, I think that
one of
the
the concerns,
figment of some people's imagination to sit down and say that, oh, they want to do this and
Mr. Salia,
disenfranchise.
I think there's been a lot of observation of the way that the NIA has been working in the last few years.
Yes.
And the concerns are very legitimate that a lot of people left will not be able to register by that time. And what happens when we get to that point?
They themselves are giving the assurance.
Right.
And let me tell you, unless, of course, a Ghanaian go...
I'm coming to you.
Unless, of course...
Alaji, I'll come to you.
If a Ghanaian goes to register,
yes,
and is unable to register, and election is due,
right,
that person can take the NIA to court or the Electoral Commission to court. But there is a situation. No Ghanaian has come to say that I tried, I'm willing and able and of age and sound to go for this card, and then the NIA is not giving it to me. And that by looking at the time, he is sure that it will disenfranchise him. Nobody at this stage can come to that conclusion. Right. So where from all these things that
so you think
the NDC and their
the concerns are too early?
I mean, it's too early, and they are just jumping the gun and shouting, creating and then screaming blue medal. I don't get it.
Okay. Mr. Salia, I'll come.
I don't get it.
I'll return to you. I mean, Mr. Salia has given his submission there, but let me come back to the line. Honorable Murtala Mohammed, you wanted to respond. Sorry, I can barely hear you. Is it possible to reposition yourself? We can barely hear you. There's an interference in the line. No, it's not. No, it's not okay. Yes, please proceed. Let's see. Honorable. Right. Listen, we're going to try to reconnect there so the line is smoother because we can't hear you at all. Alaji, if you're there, can you just pick it up for us?
Well, I think that we need to understand that nobody's idiosyncrasies is at play here. We're talking about the enjoyment of your right. I'm talking about Salia Sake's rights. I'm talking about my rights.
Yes, speaking for
I'm talking about the rights of Ghanaians.
Right.
And that right is a sacred right.
Right.
It is a right that citizens of this country exercise to choose the leadership of a country. It is a democratic right in the sense that you cannot take it away from the people. And you take it away from the people, a government formed thereby cannot be called a democracy. So the democracy is the people. And that's why you need to understand that when you are arguing, you take your emotions out. I have got a voter ID card. I have got the Ghana card. But I'm talking about the effect
on those who don't have it.
That on the people who are not equally circumstanced like Salia, who are not equally circumstanced like me, who are in areas that are inaccessible. I'm talking about people who are just coming out of becoming mature, coming to maturity, who will have to register. Most of whom haven't got the ID card, the voter ID card. I mean the NIA card.
They would not get the ID card by that time.
So it's not about you and I, Salia. It's about how do we consolidate our democracy and promote inclusiveness. How do we ensure that will make opportunities and facilities available to all to get onto the register, to be able to exercise their democratic rights. I concede that speaking against using the Ghana card exclusively as a form of identification does not mean that the people who will be disenfranchised will be solely NDC. It could be MPP, it could be CPP. But do I need to only concern myself with CPP or NDC? No, I need to concern myself with the people of Ghana. That's what we need to understand. And to my brother Ben Epson, you have been engaged in secular reasoning. The NIA uses guarantee system to get people onto their register for the purposes of acquiring the Ghana card. And then you are saying that that Ghana card, which was acquired through voucher system, is superior to a voucher system that will be done before the Electoral Commission. How can that be the case? You are talking about a situation where the Electoral Commission was not there when guarantees were made for somebody to get an NIA card. And you are comparing that situation to a situation when the Electoral Commission will be there to supervise that activity. That cannot be the same. And no one is seeking to make our electoral systems lax. We want to strengthen it. We do not, we even talk about the sole right to appoint an electoral commissioner. Some of us believe that that position should be a public, public sector, public services must conduct interviews to get somebody who can be equally acceptable to all stakeholders within the party to become the referee. We want to strengthen it. We have said that Electoral Commission is in this mess because they have boxed together two functions. They have boxed together the electoral management function and also the regulation of political parties. And so there's a difficulty. And so anytime you speak, they try to say that it is this political party or that political party that is against their decision. How can you use a decision of an electoral commission or electoral commissioners to override the clear and express provisions of a constitution? It's dangerous.
Right.
Which one?
The reality, we must not let the reality of the electoral commission supplant the express wishes of the people of this country as captured in our constitution. We must guard against that.
Right. Thank you so much, Alaji. Yes, please, Honorable Murtala Mohammed. Yes, we have you.
Well, but what I was simply saying, and maybe perhaps Saka didn't listen to me very well. The last time I checked, African never declared that he belonged to NDC.
Yes.
Imani never said that they belong to NDC. As a matter of fact, Imani disagrees with NDC than he disagrees with NPP. The CDD, even Mr. Benson, who also has problems with the NAI card to be the sole document for the purposes of registering, has never declared anywhere he belongs to NDC.
Right.
We
did mention that.
Assuming it was only NDC, that was against it.
Actually, Honorable, when I mentioned that, he said the NDC and those who think like them. So
no, but I'm coming. I mean, that statement for me was even insulting. What does he mean by NDC and those who think like them? And that's why I said that Imani, they think more MPP than they think about NDC. CDD and those civil society organizations, in that sense, within topical discourse, their friends should even be the MPP and not the NDC. Why is it that anytime anybody raises legitimate concern on issues, they quickly turn it to an NDC MPP football game? But in any case, when I said that the reason why we think that you cannot use a system that you don't have control over. And then he said that, how about the passport? Does the the Electoral Commission has control over the passport? For me, he's debating the argument. Why? The processes of having people register into the voter register is done by the Electoral Commission. So whether you are using a vouching system or a guarantor system, if you like, or a passport or a birth certificate, it will be ascertained by officials of the Electoral Commission so that you can get registered into the voter register. But in this case, the processes leading to people acquiring the national identification card is absolutely controlled by the National Identification Authority. So when you come with that card, they don't ask you how did you acquire it. That card is enough a proof for you to use it to get your name registered into the voter register. That is the point I mean by they don't have the control. But if they say that you can register using the passport, you can register using your birth certificate, you can register using the vouching system, you go through a process determined by the Electoral Commission, so they have control. So that argument, I didn't know where it was coming from.
Right.
But in any case, I started by telling you what the Electoral Commission, you can call them, what they told a committee of parliament, subsidiary and legislation. I was eager. They gave two reasons why they think that we could no longer use the passport or the vouching system. And the reasons they gave was that they could not vouch for the credibility of the national passport.
Right.
And when we wanted to know what they mean by that, they said they have evidences that foreigners who possess the Ghanaian passport. And I say, even your station reported foreigners arrested in possession of the Ghana card. So if you want seeking to cure a mischief, and that cannot cure because the basis for which reason you think that you cannot vouch for the credibility of the Ghanaian passport is at the same basis for which anybody cannot vouch for the Ghana card. So we are never again using the Ghana card as a means of identification. What we are simply saying, it shouldn't be the sole means for identification for the purposes of getting yourself registered into the voters register. Use that, use the passport, use the vouching system. Because if the vouching system is why is it that the Ghana card you can still procure it through that same system?
Right. Thank you so much, Honorable Murtala Mohammed. Let me just go to Ben Epson, who's still on the line. My apologies for keeping you waiting. But if you want to respond to the questions around the guarantor system, which we've had both Alaji and Honorable Murtala say, your stance should be clearer because the same thing exists within the other system.
Yes, I heard my brother Lawyer Hussein say that it's the same guarantor system that is used in terms of the Ghana card issuer. Yes, I agree. Between the two, you have to find a middle way.
Middle ground. So, Mr. Epson, you keep saying we need to find middle ground, and you're between the two sides. What would middle ground be?
No, I think that we should find a better way of the guarantee system.
Okay.
Because if we are in a community, you and I, you are in party A, I'm in party B, and we know that a third person is a foreigner who lives in the community. But he always attends rally for party A. When there is continuing voter registration, political agitation will be so high that the other party supporters who live in that community will know that this non-Ghanaian always attends rallies of that party whose supporters are guaranteeing for him is a Ghanaian. If the guarantee system is used for him to get a Ghana card, it will not be so plain, it will not be so tense as the person going to register as using the guarantor system. That's what I'm saying, that we have to find a middle way. Somebody gets his Ghana card through the guarantor system. Will not be as
Mr. Benson.
Sorry, Alaji.
I just want to ask a question.
Let him land.
Yes.
Let him land, please.
There will be two situations that you are using the guarantee system. One, to get a Ghana card, you would have gotten it already. But using the same system to get registered as a voter, mind you, in that situation, there will be the supporters of both party A and B agreeing or objecting. That is where the tension and fights are going to come.
Right.
In the earlier one of getting a Ghana card, people just walk in. So you have to find a middle way. So when there is continuing registration, political party agents are present. This is what I'm trying to find out how, and this is my suggestion. But the guarantor system has been abused so much.
Right. Right. Thank you, Mr. Efsin. Alaji, if you can just ask your question before we move from him.
Yes, Mr. Benson.
He can hear you.
And unfortunately, even the processes to acquire the Ghana card was politicized. There were reports in the media that certain people were denied the opportunity to register for the Ghana card because they were deemed to be foreigners just as they dressed.
Right. Thank you, Alaji.
People were allowed to register when they think that those people were foreigners for the Ghana card. So it won't cure anything, actually.
Right. Interesting take there. Let me just come to Mr. Salia in studio. We're out of time, but if you can just wrap up in 2 minutes for me. 2
minutes, I'll finish right now. First of all,
Salia.
Please let him say his own.
They are my brothers who.
Obviously.
Yes. You see, in terms of the fact that if there should be disenfranchisement of the process,
right,
it will be both the MPP and NDC that will suffer.
Right.
And even the other political parties.
Made that clear.
I accept that. But you see, I made that point because the NDC themselves have started saying that the Electoral Commission want to reach the election for the MPP through that process.
Yes, that is a submission.
I heard Okujoto Oblakwa say those things. And that is the reason why I said so. I said so. Another point. My brother, Inusaf Sini, Alaji, said that the Electoral Commission, or the 2 or 3 commissioners cannot lord their wishes on the people. I see the Electoral Commission, the two commissioners are the people, because the Constitution actually recognizes them, and the Constitution says that whatever that they decide to do should not be under the control of any authority. Article 46. Yeah,
no, that's not true.
No. The Electoral Commission, except as provided in the Constitution or in any other law not inconsistent with the Constitution, in the performance of the function, the Electoral Commission shall not be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority.
Right.
So the powers have already been given to them.
That caveat is very important.
The powers have already been given to them.
I don't know. Is very important.
Gentlemen, we've run out of time on Spotlight on MX24 television. I am hoping that another time we can continue this conversation, but we'll do that shortly, depending on how the proceedings go when the CI is laid before Parliament. I've been speaking with Honorable Inusaf Hussaini. We've also spoken with Ben Efsin, Saka Salia, who's an NPP communications team member, and Honorable Murtala Mohammed, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central Constituency. My name is Nwong Falong. To you at home, we are very grateful for your time. Join us same time Wednesday at 5 o'clock for Spotlight. Good evening.
Dreaming of a proper